Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guess what I'm going to be doing right now? Going live. Finally going live with the show on Mass Hellions in TVP. Spelling error. Paste. That's right, it is currently Thursday, March 27th, 2014, and this is Day 9 Daily Number 694, where we realize we didn't set up our screen in 16:9. Now strike a funny pose. There we go. That's what's emblazoned on the screen until it refreshes in 16:9. Welcome to the Day 9 Daily, where we learn to be a better gamer, and indeed this will be happening. I left my water in the kitchen. Things are going wrong, but in today's show, we're going to look at what will go right in the Terran vs. Protoss matchup when you go Mass Hellions versus Protoss. Huh? That's right. Very weird style, showcased by Dayshi. I thought it was this morning, and I don't know why I thought that, because I've been watching the WCS groups every morning when I wake up, and for some reason I thought this happened today, but this happened yesterday. This game against Grubby. A really cool game. We're going to talk about what the setup is to be able to do this style properly, what some of the pitfalls would be that you won't see, because Daishi's really good and avoids the pitfalls. Then we're going to see it evolve into the mid-game, how this Mass Factory Hellion opening will mix into Mech. We'll get to see Mech. And then we'll get to see the later on mid-game and late game and whatnot. Now, let me just begin by saying I'm super sorry. I've been very sloppy with my show scheduling this week about updating that. I'm still just I'm just very tired. I'm just recovering from just something, from a brain melt, and I don't have a game picked for tomorrow, for instance. I'm very behind, but it'll be better next week. Just wanted to let you know I am aware of the issue, and I'm really sorry. I've been seeing some comments about that, like where's all the schedules for everything, because it doesn't say anything, and I feel bad, and I'm sorry. So without any further ado, let's go into the show. Look at this. Look at this. We didn't set up any of the screens properly. Good. Let's enable music and sound. Let's hop into this game. This show, wow. This show is not going so nice, but that's okay. We're gonna look at this. Now, what I want to do from the start of the game is let you know again that Dayshi is going to be opening Mass Hellion, is going to be opening Mech. What? All that sort of stuff. And we're going to look at the opening and pretend that we don't know that, even though we totally know that. Because we want to be able to think about all the concerns that Dayshi would have anyways, not over-focus on this single little bit. The important thing about Mech on this map is that it relies on the... well, it's going to have to rely on the big open spaces. Any strategy we do on Frost has huge open areas, particularly here, outside of our potential thirds. Obviously, all around the watchtowers are big, but even areas like outside the third base that we will see, I'm even zooming out, it's quite expansive. All the attack angles. The only small areas are these entrances here and here. So we know Dayshi is going to have to do some kind of Mech, because I said that. And we also know that it's going to have to rely on big open spaces, because that's what Frost is about. We might struggle using an open space strategy on Heavy Rain, because it's a very closed map. So I would actually not advise you to use what you're seeing here today on a map like Heavy Rain. So nifty. Dayshi does what many people do on this map, opens up with Command Center first. Now again, to tap into the knowledge that we totally don't know yet, but that we totally do, Dayshi, who's going Mass Hellions, will need a lot of minerals. Hellions are extremely expensive on the bank because they don't take a very long time to build, and they take 2 supplies, so you have to build a buttload of depots as well. So again, a Hellion-focused strategy that opens up fast command center is good. But of course we want to be thinking about this in the context of normal Protossy and normal Terran-y things. Dayshi, by using this setup, does need to begin to scout eventually. There are extremely fast Stargate builds that will be a little bit of a pain in the bum. Dayshi will need to get up a fast bunker. He can't skip that. Some of the timings are quite typical, going for the refinery somewhat swiftly, but you'll note in particular this is not a refinery before throwing down this barracks. This barracks did get started first. So, I mean, there's a lot of timings just in general with Terran where you do go very quick gas and then a barracks to be able to get the factory out as fast as possible. And this is where we can note one of the biggest differences in a strategy, or in two strategies that use the same units. Just because we're going for a unit doesn't mean we have to get it quickly. There are some strategies that rely on fast hellions, but Daishi's strategy relies on mass hellions. And in general, fast involves you getting quicker gas. Mass involves you getting more expansions and later gas. We don't want things as quickly, we want a better underpinning economy. Nice. Very, very nice. So we are going mass hellion, not fast hellion. Why? Don't worry about why. We don't want to talk about that yet. So here's the big piece of evidence that Daishi's looking for. Aha! A nexus goes down. That's very good because this immediately cuts out a number of annoying one-basing strategies that might cause Daishi to do something completely different. If you are trying to steal this build and you see no nexus and no indication that there'll be a nexus coming up, don't go for the mass hellion strategy. Stay alive, because that will be your ticket to winning there. But here Daishi says, ah, yes, a fast nexus, wonderful. Gets in here and sees, ah, yes, no second gas geyser, wonderful. Very hard to do tech-based builds. What would Daishi do if he saw the second gas geyser? Well, it's very easy. You click and you see how much gas is mined. Oh, well, a little over 100? Well, okay, well, there's 100 going for the mothership core, and we don't see a stalker or a warp gate researched yet. Okay, cool. So there's probably like, what, 70 some gas available? And there it is. If for some reason you saw something like 250 gas mined, very reasonable for there to be a Stargate hidden somewhere. And you would look for other clues like pylon hunting. Or pylon counting. Like, well, I see this one pylon here and I didn't see the other pylon anywhere. Oh, danger, danger. So that's certainly of consideration. In the meantime, Daishi is just muling up, SCVing up, bunkering up, absolutely critical to get the bunker going. Because, I mean, even one gate worth of pressure can be very problematic. And straight into the reactor factory tech, Daishi will go. Come on. Throwing it down. And we're going to pause at 5 minutes because we like nice round numbers. Alright, cool. Let us recap. What are the big things that we're seeing here? Pretty normal opening from Daishi, and this is the unusual thing. Factory and reactor coming up right now. However, oh so important to note, Daishi scouted an expansion with no gas. Here's the expansion, here's the no gas, and saw the mothership core. Not a lot of scary, scary threats that can be rampaging down our way. So this is the sort of information where we can't overlook. We actually can't. I want to use a negative. I want to say we can't do something enough. We can't be careful enough. There we go. I found the sentence. We can't be careful enough in this opening game stage. I would say that if you're climbing up on the ladder, 90% of your games will be safe, calm, early expandy folk. But there's a couple of tricks up their sleeves as well. Stargate, Oracle play, and whatnot. So we like what we're seeing here. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Protoss side of things. Step into the Protoss's shoes. So Daishi, you're great, but we really want to look at this Protoss economy. And to do this, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Now Protoss will generally get some tech kind of quickly, like a Twilight Council, a Robo facility, a Stargate, occasionally more gateways for some pressure. But look right now, we have these 2 stalkers out on the field. Excuse me, 1 stalker out on the field. Just kind of looking around. Look at this, we just got this robotics facility done, and ooh, well, upgrades are pretty dang important. Almost every Protoss player is going to be playing this way. Low on gateways, low on gateway units, playing very defensively. We see the mothership core moving out, we see the stalkers scouting around. This is very, 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 very typical. This defensive style. And suddenly we see some hellions run up. What? This moment in time I want to cement into your brain, the 7-minute mark. Rarely ever does the Protoss have much more than this. A gateway, some tech buildings, warp gate only just recently finishing up. Photon overcharge is so good against early marine threats, against early mine threats. I mean, we even have observers on the map right now. The Protosses are very comfortable cutting corners. And against small numbers of hellions, no big deal, we got stalkers. That's about it. That is the Protoss logic du jour. And what we're going to continue to see is the response from Grubby as he literally identifies exactly what Dayshi is doing. Robotics Bay, very common to go down right now because, hell, we cut all the corners by getting no gateway units. We can't cut corners forever. Actually, cutting corners is the wrong term. We have skimped out on building defensive units, so the first ones we do get better be big and powerful. And then Grubby, with his first observer sent straight away, sees a factory building next to a reactor that's building and 2 done reactor factories. He sees everything that's going on. Now let's look back at the Protoss side of things. This is why hellions work very, very well on a big open map. There is no hope for this Protoss player to get a third anytime soon. All these stalkers that were once being somewhat active must stay pulled back much earlier. Normally medevacs pop out at around 10-ish minutes, sometimes 9:30, but now it's 8. And Grubby has forcibly walled himself in with this gateway. He's going to be focusing on staying low on his tech. We'll state some obvious things right now. Zealots will die very easily to this composition. It's going to have to largely be stalkers, which greatly eat into a Protoss's ability to do anything. We still need this thermal lance, which takes gas. Blink seems pretty good, it takes gas. Upgrades are not even going, and those take gas. We haven't started Templar Archives. We're actually almost gas broke as Grubby, but may as well just keep building up all the stalkers and whatnot. And we're doing some scouting, and we see, geez, this guy has a lot of stalkers. Or excuse me, geez, this guy has a lot of hellions. It's at this point that we can start to see what is so great about this hellion mixture. It's forcing Grubby to build a lot of stalkers. It's one of these, it's almost the myth of counters. Countering is kind of not quite a real concept in an RTS game because it neglects the more important question, which is how much stuff does everyone have? Stalkers counter hellions. Actually, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Does it actually say this? Protoss units, Stalker, strong against... Oh, it doesn't say strong against Hellion. What about Hellion? Where's Hellion? Oh, look at that. Weak against Stalker. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. We went really far. Wait, look again. Weak against Stalker. Yeah. It's actually listed in there. And that's true in very even numbers. But if you have what looks like to be 20... Hellions, yeah, 20 Hellions on the map right now. You will lose all your stalkers if they're in a small number. And this is why counters tend to be fictional, because certainly these stalkers, once even more stalkers get warped in, maybe 8, 10 or so, I think 8, 10 stalkers might even still lose to 20 Hellions. But what's important is that Dayshi isn't just thinking about this even battle. Look at Grubby's control of the map. Grubby has walled himself in. Mothership core retracted back. One observer here, another observer at the front, and one in the main being blown away at the number of factories. There is no presence anywhere on this part of the map for Grubby. So Dayshi has a free reign to do what he wants. Again, counters are somewhat of a myth because they neglect all the other important parts like map control, speed of the units, the underlying resources. As a very simple example, a Zerg player can out-expand, out macro a Protoss and kill the Protoss with just Lings and Roaches when the Protoss has Force Field, Immortals, and Zealots. Ling Roach, I mean, this is the Stefano 11-minute max style. You can just kill them straight up and that easily. So thinking not in terms of counters is totally good. So again, I want you to just cement this second snapshot in your head of Grubby, who's trying to get Colossus out, who doesn't even have range, but really is a Protoss player who's stuck at home. What I want to do now is come back to that 5-minute mark ability. 5-minute mark ability, damn it. This is the problem of reading chat while you do a show. You accidentally just say the words that you read, and people are talking about the Rend ability. Hashtag Rend from Diablo 3. So let's think about some important timings. 6 minutes is about when a big ol' scary gateway attack would happen, but those are just uncommon these days. Pure and simple. It will be able to do some damage if there was a 6-minute gateway assault, but of course, let's note, we could build some Widow Mines and survive for a little bit of time. Now this is something that seems a little cheeky. This is something that seems very luck-based. And I saw a lot of people who were watching this saying, oh, Dayshi, he just was fortunate that Grubby didn't scout that. Because, oh my god, if Grubby scouts this, Dayshi's in for a hurt. But not really. Again, remember that when we came here and talked about how Grubby has no control over this space, in particular, he has no ability to go cross-map and take out this command center. It's relatively safe for this command center to actually go down here. Why is that? Because these hellions are almost done. If I were playing this style, I don't like doing these types of hidden plays when they don't really need to be hidden. I would just command center right here and intend on floating it immediately. Or I might even go so far as to literally straight command center here, because what really can Protoss do about this? So we're starting to see some of these pieces come together for Dayshi. He's rallying into his main base and then sending 2 hellions along a sneaky path. Why is that? Why would he want to send them along a sneaky path? Because, remember the 7-minute mark? Protosses will rarely have a damn thing. I mean, right now it's 2 stalkers, almost 3 stalkers. And we see the stalker that was actually, I think, gearing to move to this top side. This one that was gearing to scout this top side are, of course, not going to be able to assist with the defense of this. But I think more importantly, even if that stalker did find this one command center, you could easily just send some hellions to deal with it. So this attack will have one of 2 outcomes. 1, it will let you get in the main and maybe do some damage. Or 2, it will immediately get you your map control. And more or less, it has done that for Dayshi. Now some of the nice things we see out of Dayshi, we see this engineering bay go down rather swiftly. Pretty important to do that in general because, you know, we need to make sure that we have the preparations ready to build just, you know, turret here and turret here against something like oracles, or a turret here if we believe there's DTs. Fortunately, Dayshi got all the way deep into the main base early with his SCV scout, and just now with his Hellion scout. So now we're going to talk a little bit about timings. I don't know how big a fan I am of getting all the reactors now, and that comment makes no sense now but will make sense later. The big thing we see out of Dayshi is that as his 3rd factory goes down, he begins to gas it up. Getting all the gassies. So again, what really can Grubby do about this? This is the fundamental idea of relying on resources instead of counters. Or excuse me, relying on resources and speed over counters. We have faster units that pose a big threat to workers, so you gotta stay locked in. I mean, the Hellions are basically ground mutalisks. So as Dayshi has himself up all these factories shoving out Hellions, we see an armory going down. We see gas beginning to get stockpiled. from these refineries, we see more reactors popping down. And Dayshi gets a wonderful opportunity. And I think one of my favorite things about styles like this that involve lots of fast units. Again, more factories going down, blah, 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 going mech, building factories is good. Also note that by spending all of our minerals on hellions, we have gas freed up to get our factories and reactors cranking out. +1 attack, great. The last thing I want to leave your brain with before we step away to a brief break is this moment right here. The benefit of this style is that it will draw all enemy units to the front so you never have to guess. Killing the warp gate, very annoying. Dayshi doing smart things, checking for thirds real fast. Occasionally a player will be bold and try to take a third. Oh, let me just note, great move by Grubby to halt armor production and to go straight for attack. Come on, Dayshi, do it. Yep. By moving to the front, a Colossus makes itself known. And wonderful, Dayshi now knows the tech choice that's up. In general, you're going to be up against Colossus. Occasionally you'll be up against people who will go Stalker Immortal, in which case, wonderful, you're just going to overwhelm them. Don't forget the fact that you can very easily research the transformation service that lets all those hellions turn into hellbats. Very, very kinky little play if you're up against an opponent who's going Colossus-less. But if he goes Templar, ooh, those zealots are going to get shit on. We can even get mines. We can go mine Hellion and win, period. It is one of the easiest things in the world being up against a Templaring player. Your Hellions are faster than stimmed units, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. Your Hellions are faster than stimmed units, so you can just be running all over the place defending. You can put mines in your base. You just roast the zealots, and what is he going to have? A Templar to storm and deal 20 damage to each of your Hellions before they leave? I mean, it's so good. So you know you're going to be vaguely against Colossus with this style. So great. Most of the time you're going to be up against Colossus, but you never need to guess. By being aggressive with these Hellions, you get to scout at the front. So before we step away to break, I'm going to come right back to the 10-minute mark and pause so we can begin to see the evolutions of what's going on in this base. But the big concepts that I want to throw out from part 1 that we learned. 1, you need to be careful at the start. It looked like Dayshi just went command center and then, like, you know, 2 Marines and then straight for factory, but was very diligent about scouting, and we saw those key things. Don't be afraid to be a little more cautious if you think you're up against a fast Stargate or fast Warp Gate play. Be a little more cautious, that's okay. Because if you're a little more cautious, it's because your opponent is sacrificing economy to be aggressive. So once you've spent that time staying alive and being careful, you can go straight into this Hellion thing with still not many worries, because again, he sacrificed economy to be aggressive. So again, 1, you can never be too careful with that opening stage. And 2, these Hellions, by virtue of constantly moving out, constantly being at the front, Grubby's composition is forced, and the turtling is forced. So when we return, we're going to see how Dayshi begins to transition out of this situation. Some of the things that are going to go really sexy and right for Dayshi, and things that will go wrong. So stay tuned. We'll be back.